There are a lot of misconceptions about this rank system in Season 17. We have never seen a rank system like this before in Apex, so I can understand your confusion. So allow me to clear that up for you guys. Here are the 5 best tips on how to play ranked in Season 17 of Apex Legends. Without further ado, let's get it. Bam 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 bam. Before I start giving you guys the free tips to make you a better player, I must first discuss this rank system. One of the most frustrating things that I hear this season is I keep getting pred players in my silver lobbies. I shouldn't be gold fighting masters players. That used to be true in every other season of Apex. With this new season of Apex, ranks are no longer a thing. Not like how they used to be, at least. So in the old systems, if you were bronze 4, you were playing with other bronze players. If you were silver, you were playing with other silver and bronze players. If you were gold, you were playing with plats and golds. If you were diamond, you were playing against diamonds, plats, masters, and preds. And that's how those lobbies worked. The old system was rank dependent, but with this new system, it is now MMR dependent. MMR stands for matchmaking rating. Some of you guys may know it as ELO if you've played other games like Siege. And so there's no real way to quantify it right now for me since I don't know the algorithm. But to help you conceptualize this, think of it like this. Depending on how you perform with every game, your MMR is going to be high or low. And so let's say it exists on a scale from 0 to 100. 100 being max MMR and 0 being the lowest MMR possible. For all intents and purposes, let's say you have an MMR of 50, which in this case would be average. You're going to be grouped in with other players with similar MMR to you, despite whatever rank that you're in. Remember, in the old system, if you were gold, you only fought other gold players. But now, after your placement matches, if you have a higher MMR, it doesn't matter what rank you're in. You're going to be fighting other players with higher MMR just like you. Use me as an example. After my placement matches on my main account, I placed in the silver. And normally that means I would be fighting other silver players. But not with this new system. With this new system, because my MMR is so high, I was fighting pred players and pro players while being in silver, which is counterintuitive to the old system. But because this new system is MMR dependent, it makes sense. I'm fighting other players similar to my skill. Rank used to never have skill-based matchmaking. Now it does. This is what it looks like. Now the question is, at what point in your MMR do you start fighting these pred players? That right now is unknown. But if it works anything like pubs, which also uses a skill-based matchmaking system, I would assume that any stat that you have that's above average would give you a higher matchmaking rating and thus put you in more difficult lobbies. And that could be difficult sometimes. Just because you have above average stats doesn't make you the greatest player. And the gap between a player like you and pred players is still severe. And so I understand your frustration when you're fighting these players, but they have to fill these pred lobbies up somehow. And even though this may be the case and they are putting you against pred players or previous masters players or whatever, I know for 100% fact that there aren't many pred players in your lobbies. Maybe one team, maybe a couple teams. But what I found out so far is that the rest of the lobby that you're fighting is still similar to your MMR. So hopefully this helps explain why you're getting these good players when you're in lower ranks. Ranked was never skill-based before. Now it is. So if sometimes you find yourself fighting against these players, it's probably because you have above average stats, or perhaps somebody that you're playing with also has above average stats. And when I say above average, I hope you don't think of that as something crazy. An above average KD in Apex is anything higher than 1. Again, doesn't make you the greatest player, but with this current system right now, it qualifies you to be put in more difficult lobbies. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how this new system works. It is MMR dependent, not rank dependent, and that's why I say ranks don't exist anymore. Now let's get into the tips. My first tip for this new system, and the most important tip that I can give you, is to take more fights. I know all of you guys have seen Energy Sweet's video by now, how he didn't drop a single kill or a single damage, and he was able to hit pred on the first day in 50 games. And now there are thousands of you out there trying to do that. Not for research purposes, but because that's the only possible way that you can achieve a higher rank. Why take fights and risk any LP loss if you could just rat the entire game, avoid every fight, make it to top 5, and go plus 100 LP every game? And that's fine. Do whatever you'd like to do. Just understand that you're doing yourself a disservice, and you will never get better at the game by doing that. Because the entry cost is so low now, you need to challenge yourself by taking more fights and improving your mechanical skill, your IQ, your team fighting skill to help you get better, because you're not risking anything major anymore. And know this will fall on deaf ears, because half of you don't care what I'm saying. As long as you get that purple badge that you've never been able to get before, except in Season 12, you're gonna do what you have to do to get it. That badge is all that matters to you. But if you could listen to what I'm saying and take more fights because you're not risking anything at all, then in the long run, all that practice will pay off. And once they fix the system and possibly make it even more challenging, you would have improved so much that you could handle any rank system they make. And this is exactly what I said one day before Imperial Hal tweeted this. If you don't want to listen to me, then you better listen to Hal. I think on average, if I lose any LP, I probably probably lose about 15 on average, which is nothing. Every rank requires 1000 RP to progress to the next rank. If you're challenging yourself by taking more fights and something goes wrong and you lose on average about 15 LP, that's 1.5% of that rank that you're in. Now let's say the next game the fights go well and you make it to top 5 because of the bonus that the kills provide that you get, and also taking into consideration your MMR. So if you kill any players that are higher MMR than you'll get a bigger bonus. You can get anywhere from 200 plus LP that game and gain much more LP than you could if you were just ratting and hiding that entire game. And also in doing so, you're getting better. You see what I'm saying? When have I ever led you guys astray? This is your season to take more fights and to get better. It would be smart for you to heed my advice. Tip number 2. If you followed my first tip, then let the rest of the lobby kill each other out. I would say you only need to take about 2 fights, one off rip and another fight at any other point of the game. Get you anywhere from 3 to 6 KP, which will activate your bonus, and let the rest of the lobby kill themselves out. I would say about 80% of the lobby is aping everybody, and only 20% of players are actively participating in how this rank system was supposed to be played out, which was supposed to be placement. Like I said, you could rat every single game and take plus 100 every game, and that's if every game goes well, which they don't. And because this is a 90-day season, there are no more split resets. You're bound to get masters this way, but it'll take you a lot longer to do it this way than if you take a couple fights, let the rest of the lobby kill themselves out, which only takes about 10 minutes. Make it to top 10 where you start getting positive LP and earn a lot more consistent LP this way. Tip number 3, how to fight pro players or pred players or anybody that's at a higher skill level than you. Again, remembering what I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of you guys will be in lower ranks still fighting pred players, and that's because of your MMR, not because of any rank issues. So a lot of you guys have zero practice fighting good players. Good thing I have a lot. Currently right now, pred players and pro players alike are aping every single thing, and they are not thinking about consequences because their mechanical skill will destroy 99% of players. So they are not thinking, they are turning their brains off and pushing everything. And that level of aggression can be extremely disorienting and nerve-wracking for lower skill players. They are making plenty of mistakes with this level of aggression. So it's on you guys as a solo queue player or as a lower rank player to capitalize on their mistakes. And you could do that in a variety of ways. They're going to be extremely aggressive, like I said, and that's very hard to respond to. And so most of the time, you'll have to retreat, create more separation between you and those good players, drag them out, open up an opportunity for them to make a mistake. As you're retreating, make sure you're turning and burning every so often. That term effectively means running away, but holding your ground periodically for a couple of seconds, shooting at them, and then repeating the process. That can help delay their push. And if you catch them off guard well enough, you might be able to get one of them knocked. You may also run them into another team. As you're retreating from them, most of the time, especially in this system, you're going to have another team nearby you coming towards you guys. As that pro team or pred team is chasing you, you should try to run them into the third party. So you'll continue running away, but that third party will now fill your gap, forcing those two teams now to fight. At this point, you'll now reassess the situation. Are they knocking each other? Is the pred team or pro team losing the fight? If yes to either of those, then it's time to re-engage. Those are the 3 R's of Apex. And yes, I created that myself. Retreat, reassess, re-engage. Now you become the third party, and now you get to fight a very discombobulated pro team, pred team, masters team, full 3-stack, whatever, making it very easy for you guys despite your skill level. Another way you could attempt to handle these types of players is by holding your ground within a building, and especially on high ground, letting them push you, making sure that all 3 of you guys are staying together. One of them will likely make a mistake, and you'll have to use that moment to get a knock against them. Obviously, these are very situational. Most of the time, you're going to lose against players like that, but understand that everybody is killable. But like I mentioned in the previous tip, it's best to let these pred players just kill out the rest of the lobby. You pretty much only want a third party a team like this. So those are some things to think about. Tip number 4, you need to start playing support legends, especially if you're solo queuing. The entire support class got a major buff this season. Last season, they got a buff to where support legends can now craft banners, but only that specific support legend on your team could do that. Now, if you play any support legend, anybody else on your team that's playing a different class can still craft everybody's banner, even if the support legend on said team is dead. The fact that I'm not seeing enough support legends being played right now, especially for solo queuers, is mind-boggling to me. I know a lot of you guys like playing Horizon, Wraith, Pathfinder, etc. But in my experience, and if I'm being honest, none of you guys understand how to play those legends correctly. And you're only hurting yourself and your team. So instead, why not add value to your team by playing a support legend? The entry cost is already so low right now, but if you have a support legend on your team, you'll rarely ever take losses. Simply back out of the fight and craft banners whenever you need. Tip number 5. This will be the first season that many of you hit masters. And whether you do it by ratting or whether you do it by listening to my tips. Do not develop an ego from it. It is not a coincidence that you're hitting masters for the first time in the easiest system ever. So don't go shit talking your friends or other random teammates. Don't go thinking of yourself as better than you actually are. Understand that many of you guys that are hitting masters this season for the first time still have a lot to improve on. By listening to my tips and watching my videos, I intend on helping you with that. If you play enough this season, you will get masters. There are no more split resets, so you have 90 days total to hit that rank. Whether you're solo queuing, whether you're bad or good at the game, with this current system and the length of the season, you are guaranteed to hit masters. The only way that you aren't going to hit masters is if you don't play, so take advantage of the time that you have, and I guess get the badge while you can. But understand that there's still a lot that you guys have to work on, and that's okay. That's why I'm here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you learned something, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam.